All right, welcome back. We are Luke chapter 16, Bible study, Sean Patrick Greene, Sean P. Greene Show, Bible study edition. And we are continuing on the life of Jesus Christ from the time from Luke 1 all the way through to Luke 24. We might even continue on till Acts in the future, but we're just doing this talking about the life of Jesus. So let's get right to it. We got a lot to cover on the next couple of chapters, but this one's going to be another shorter verse. So maybe we'll break down a letter or a word or something to that effect. Let's begin. Vamos a pusar. The unrighteous steward. So we just, yesterday's verse was about the Jesus looking for the lost, basically what Jesus came for. And he had three parables, one about the lost sheep, another one about the lost coin, and the other one about the prodigal son. And all referring to Jesus is here to save the lost. The unrighteous steward. Now we'll get into a principle of finance. Interesting enough, stewardship. Luke 16, verse 1. And he said also to his disciples, there was a certain rich man which had a steward, and the same was accused unto him that he had wasted his goods. And he called him and said unto him, how is it that I hear this of thee? Give an account of thy stewardship, for thou mayest be no longer steward. Then the steward said within himself, what shall I do? For my Lord takes away from me the stewardship. I cannot dig. To beg, I am ashamed. I am resolved to what to do, that when I'm put out of the stewardship, they may receive me into their houses. So he called every one of his Lord's debtors, and said unto the first, how much thou owest unto my Lord? And he said, 100 measures of oil. And he said unto them, take thy bill, sit down quietly, and write 50. So basically, he just cut his debt in half. Then said he to another, and how much owest thou? And he said, 100 measures of wheat. And he said unto him, take thy bill, and write 80. So 80 means 4 times 20. That's what score means. So it means 80. So basically a whole fifth of it erased of his debt. And the Lord commended the unjust steward, because he had done wisely. For the children of this world are in their generation wiser than the children of light. It's talking about the generation. What does that mean, generation? It means basically of his certain people. The children of this world are in their generation wiser. Children of what?
Strong's G 165. Ion. Ion.
So the word world means ion. Could mean evermore, never, evermore, an age, or eternal. Forever, an unbroken age, perpetuity of time. I can't say it right. Perpetuity of time. There you go. Eternity. The world's universe, period of time, or an age. So, to breathe or to blow. The world is of the age, basically, this generation of this age. Talking about this specific time frame, their generation of the world. It's wiser than the children of light. Why would he say that? Hmm. Verse 9, and I say unto you, make to yourselves friends of the mammon of unrighteousness. Huh. That when ye fail, they may receive you into everlasting habitations. Interesting. And let's read that again. And I say unto you, make to yourselves friends of the mammon of unrighteousness. What does that mean? Make yourself friends of the mammon of unrighteousness. What is mammon?
Strong's G 3126. Mamonas. Mamonas.
It's Aramaic or Babylonian in nature. Wealth, treasure, riches. What is trusted in? All right. And we know the unrighteousness is what? Anything that's not in right standing with God. But let's look at it specifically.
Strong's G 93. Adikia. Adikia.
Unrighteous, iniquity, unjust, wrong, injustice of a judge, unrighteousness of heart and life, a deed violating law and justice, act of unrighteousness. So the wealth of the injustice, wealth of the wicked is another way that another another thing to say. So the wealth of the wicked. Make to yourselves friends of the wealth of the wicked, that when ye fail, they may receive you into everlasting habitations. He that is faithful in that which is least is faithful also in much. He that is unjust in the least is unjust also in much. If therefore ye have not been faithful in the unrighteous mammon, who will commit to your trust the true riches, which is in heaven? And if ye have not been faithful in that which is another man's, who shall give you that which is your own? No servant can serve two masters, for either he will hate the one and love the other, or else he will hold to the one and despise the other. Ye cannot serve God and mammon. And of course, we just said mammon is the wealth of the unrighteous. You can't serve God and wealth. Verse 14, and the Pharisees also, who were covetous, heard all these things, and they derided him. And he said unto them, ye are they which justify yourselves before men. Before God knows your hearts. For that which is highly esteemed among men is is abomination in the sight of God. That can go with a lot of things, especially nowadays. Highly esteemed among men. Think about all the award shows that are out there. Some of it is an abomination in the sight of God. Verse 16. The law and the prophets until John, since that's John the Baptist. Since that time the kingdom of God is preached, and every man presses into it. It is easier for heaven and earth to pass than one tittle of the law to fail. Who knows? We already know that heaven and earth shall pass away. His word is forever. Luke 16:18. Whosoever putteth away his wife and marries another commits adultery. Whosoever marries her that is put away from husband commits adultery. So you're damned if you do, damned if you don't. Cheaper to keep her, as some people say. All right, let's get to the final part of this: the rich man and Lazarus. Luke 16:19. There was a certain rich man which was clothed in purple and fine linen, and fared sumptuously every day. What does that mean? Fared sumptuously every day. What does that mean? Fared. What does that say? Euphranio. Euphranio. So rejoice, making glad, being merry. All right. When you say refrain, means don't make so much noise. So fared, in other words, being very, very joyous, and sumptuously. What does that mean? Rejoicing magnificently, splendidly, luxuriously, brilliantly. All right, so here we go. 16:19. He rejoiced voluptuously. How about that? Every day. So he just had so much wealth that he just didn't care. He was just having a good old time all the time. Rich man. And there was a certain beggar named Lazarus, which was laid at his gate, full of sores, and desiring to be fed with the crumbs which fell from the rich man's table. Oh, so he was just waiting, hopefully that crumbs from the table would come off, just so he can eat, because he was unclean. He couldn't eat with normal people. And remember when Jesus says, approached the Samaritan woman, and she says, even the dogs eat from the master's table. So the beggar named Lazarus was laid at his gate, full of sores, desiring to be fed with the crumbs which fell from the rich man's table. Moreover, the dogs came and licked his sores. And it came to pass that the beggar died and was carried by the angels into Abraham's bosom. That's an interesting analogy here. What does that mean? The rich man also died and was buried. So here we got both the beggar and the rich man both died. But the beggar was carried by the angels to Abraham's bosom. But the rich man was not carried to Abraham's bosom. And in hell he lifted up his eyes. This is the rich man, being in torments, and seeth Abraham afar off. Abraham wasn't in hell. Abraham's bosom. Abraham afar off. And Lazarus in his bosom. Where is this bosom? What does this mean? In his arms? The angelos eis Abraham kapos. I think I might have pronounced it wrong, but kolpos.
Strong's G 2859. Kalpas. Kalpas.
Kalpas. The front of the body between the arms. Bosom of garment. The hollow formed by the upper part of the rather loose garment bound by a girdle or sash, used for keeping and carrying things. The fold or pocket. So analogy like a bay of the sea. So in Abraham's arms, basically. Interesting. Bosoms. Abraham's bosom. 1622. Keep going on that. See, no man has. Okay, I'm going to reference bosom here. John 1:18. No man has seen God at any time. The only begotten Son, which is in his bosom of the Father, which is in the bosom of the Father, he hath declared him. Interesting. Now there was leaning on Jesus' bosom, this is John, the one of his disciples whom Jesus loved. And then also in Acts, and when it was day, they knew not the land, but they discovered a certain creek with a shore, into which they were minded, if it were possible, to thrust in the ships. Basically like a marina, but it was a kind of like a docking spot. All right, cool. We get an idea what the bosom of Abraham is. It's like a docking space. It's a place to hang out until paradise is brought up into heaven, basically. How about that? All right. What am I going so far back for? Get back to 16. All right. Here we go. Let's go back to 19. We'll reread it. There was a certain rich man, was clothed in purple, fine linen, fared sumptuously every day, and there was a certain beggar named Lazarus, which laid at his gate, full of sores, and desiring to be fed with the crumbs which fell from the rich man's table. Moreover, the dogs came and licked his sores. Came to pass the beggar died and was carried by the angels into Abraham's bosom. And the rich man also died and was buried. And in hell he lifted up his eyes, being in torments, and seeth Abraham afar off, and Lazarus in his bosom. And he cried and said, Father Abraham, have mercy on me. Send Lazarus, that he may dip the tip of his finger in water and cool my tongue, for I am tormented in this flame. But Abraham said, Son, remember that thou in thy lifetime received thy good things, likewise Lazarus evil things. But now he is comforted, and thou art tormented. And beside all this, between us and you, there's a great gulf fixed. How about that? It's a huge gulf in between Abraham's and hell, basically. So that they which were passed from hence to you cannot. So if they came from Abraham to him, they couldn't come back. That from thence, that would come from thence. So none of them can come to Abraham's bosom from hell. 27. And he said, I pray thee therefore, Father, that thou wouldest send him to my father's house. For I have 5 brethren, that he may testify unto them, lest they also come into this place of torment. Abraham said unto him, They have Moses and the prophets, let them hear them. So basically, people's voices in hell will never be heard, but the voices that God sent already, Moses and the prophets, have already been sent to speak to every generation. This is Abraham speaking to the tormented rich man that went to hell. And he said, Nay, Father Abraham, for if one went into them from the dead, they would repent. And he said unto them, If they hear not Moses and the prophets, neither will they be persuaded, though one rose from the dead. And even Jesus rose from the dead later on. This is Jesus kind of foretelling. Even when he raises from the dead, people weren't listening to Moses and the prophets. They still won't listen to Jesus when he raises from the dead. How about that? Wow, what a deep lesson today. And it took a little bit more time. I could have blew right through this, but I felt like this was such a good story, a good lesson, and it really is deep. You know, we talk about paradise. Where is paradise? If we mention it throughout, where the Bible mentions it, Eden is technically paradise. Abraham was in paradise after his death. There are certain people that got to go to paradise, or in Eden, after the fall. Very few. But those people that were in Eden once Christ rose from the dead and the resurrection power was with him, he took people from those lands, as far as I can understand, from paradise up into the heavenly places. So that's why the guy that died on the cross next to him, he says, Today you will see me in paradise. You will be with me in paradise. He was in paradise. There's a lot of stuff we got to study, man, because there's a lot of doctrines that people are teaching that really are not examined. They're not really fully examined. So, thanks for listening and watching. ShawnPGreene.com. Let's get to the next lesson about chapter 17.